All right, we're back on sports, and it's one of those weeks. It's just a weird week in sports because you got to think. Everyone's getting ready for NFL football. I know everyone's excited. We will talk about it, okay? But we're in that gray area now between, preseason being over and, this was it NFL Week 1 getting ready to start. So in Labor Day weekend, there's really nothing on, you know what I mean? EPL wasn't on, but I mean, what NBC did for us, NBC Sports, because EPL wasn't on, they actually put on replays of Premier Rugby, and we usually don't get that. So I sat and had a chance to watch that, which was interesting. But there were replays, so you guys overseas and guys and girls overseas already saw that. So I was like, okay, what do? You know what I mean? No reason to talk about it. So let me start off by saying that I participated this over the weekend in the Doctor Who 10K run for autism. So as you see, it's the medal. I just want to say this run was interesting because I was experimenting on certain different things, different paces, slower grinds, running slower to see what it was going to do for me, for my body. So I was testing the 15 to 17 minute mile run for this, and of course I ended up running more than a 10K for this, but it didn't matter, or at least that's what my Fitbit had said. But that's not the point. The point is the reason I was testing this is because I wanted to see how my legs would hold up. Because if I can run that long, at a 17 and not feel anything, mind you, did not feel anything at all for a 10K at a 17-minute mile. It means I was running pretty much really slow. But the reason I'm testing this is simply because I may be doing the Philadelphia Marathon this year. So running a 15-minute to 17-minute mile at that pace and for a Philadelphia Marathon, I'm just testing to see how my body will hold up. And like I said, for a 10K, I could have ran a half marathon at that pace and not been hurt. You know what I mean? Let alone a full marathon. I think that if I run a 17-minute mile or a 15-minute mile, I would have no problem at a Philadelphia Marathon at all. I would actually kind of coast, to be honest. And that's between your spurts of actually deciding you want to run really hard. Because they tell you, even though you run really quick, in half marathons or, 5Ks or 10Ks, every runner that I've seen, that I've read and talked to, they always slow down their pace when it comes to an actual marathon. So that's what I was testing for this run. Okay, like I said, it was a great thing, great run, good spirits. I was in a really good mood that day for some reason. I don't know why. I was in a really good mood. Usually when you're running, sometimes you get a little competitive. Sometimes you're just like, all right, you just want to do it and get it over with. At times, this one was actually, I was just in a good mood. I was just really enjoying myself. You know what I mean? I really was. So, great run. Also, just to let you know, within the local community, soon we're going to be having a lot of runs. This September is really busy for me when it comes to runs and Spartan races. I'm like booked solid, like back-to-back for like back-to-back weeks. So I got a lot of runs to do and races to do coming up. So just to let you know, we have the Boxers Trail 5K that's coming up. Okay, now the Boxers Trail 5K, of course, for boxers, you run a 5K trail. I can't do this due to the fact that I have another run on that same day, and it starts at the same time. I can't be at two places at once. You know what I mean? Also, we have a Run Now, Wine Later run coming up, which is pretty much a run, and then afterwards they give you a bunch of wine you can drink afterwards. So for those who are interested, here's the information for that. Also, there's the Father Judge 5K coming up. That's a classic for a lot of people in the Northeast. Also, there's another 5K coming up for the, Run, Walk, and also Roll. So I'll give you the information for that as well. Now that all the running information is out of the way, let's get to football. Okay, Week 1 is coming up, and as we know, before we even start talking about Week 1, we should talk about what the Eagles just did not too long ago, which was trade Sam Bradford. Now, I'm sure that all of us Eagles fans were pretty much, on the same page here when it was get rid of Sam Bradford. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And for what they got for him, I'm okay for it as well. Now, you have to understand that there are people like Angelo Cataldi, these radio idiots again. We just talked about radio guys last week, but here we go again. Of course, he's not very happy with the trade. I don't understand why you're not. If you think that the Eagles had a shot at the fucking Super Bowl this year, you have a first-year coach with a new system, with new players. You have other players that are possibly being suspended. You have, look, you got a rookie quarterback who's going to make rookie mistakes. You can't sit here and think that this is a bad trade, especially for what they gave up, to the Browns for when they were in the draft. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, this is a good thing. Okay? You're getting stuff back. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. What bothers me about this trade is actually Sam Bradford. Now, for those who don't know, Sam Bradford just came out not too long ago, and after he was traded, he was saying how he's so thankful for the Philadelphia Eagles for giving him a shot after, his 2 ACLs and all that. And he said no other team would do that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you were so thankful, then why did you act like a little bitch during the offseason? Huh? If you're so thankful. I mean, you would still be thankful, right? Even if when they drafted Carson Wentz, you'd just be like, okay, well, I'm still thankful for the opportunity. Instead, you decided to hold out. Did you not? So as far as I'm concerned, it's a bullshit thank you. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Like, Sam Bradford really needed to go. Now, here's the flip side of it. Carson Wentz will be named the starting quarterback. Now, I'm seeing a lot of people who are very happy about this. I don't have a problem with it, but we've had this discussion before as we didn't know that Sam Bradford was going to get traded, but we were like, Carson Wentz still needs time to adjust. He needs time to mold. Take your time with Carson Wentz. Now you're throwing him into the fire. Okay, fine. If that's what you're going to do, whatever. We got really pretty much no choice unless you want to hang your hat on Chase Daniel. Well, I don't think anyone wants to do that. Okay? So, as far as I'm concerned, Carson Wentz is our guy. You get behind him. Now, like I said, rookie quarterback hasn't had that many reps in preseason because, as we know, he was injured. So that is a concern. And I'm saying this in preseason as opposed to in practice because it's completely different. For those who have never played football, just because you have some contact at practice is completely different than preseason football. Okay? Completely different. Now, Carson Wentz is going to make Carson Wentz mistakes. And what I mean by that is Carson Wentz is going to make rookie quarterback mistakes. It's going to happen. All right? So for all you guys who are saying, the Wentz wagon is in, yeah, y'all going to be the same dudes come week 1. What the fuck you doing, Wentz? What's going on here? You have to keep it in perspective, okay? Please do that. Carson Wentz, listen, I don't have a problem with Carson Wentz being our guy. Keep it in perspective. Can y'all try to have some type of fun this season? I'm saying this to Eagles fans. Don't overreact to shit and freak out and carrying on. You know what it is, okay? We see this every fucking season. Y'all try to get on this Super Bowl or bust bullshit. And you should know by now, in the previous 3-4 years, that hasn't been the case. Alright? You know that. You know you should have been taking this very lightly, especially with the shit we saw with Chip Kelly, and now our first-year coach. Now, I put it like this. If Carson Wentz fails this season, he'll get a little bit of the flack. He will. But mostly, people are going to bag on Doug Peterson for this. They will. All right? Mind you, first-year coach. All right? Head coach. He's going to take a lot of heat. I am happy, though, that Peterson just came straight out and was like, yeah, Wentz is going to be our guy. Because you know what? Chip Kelly would have BS'd you the entire time. You know how that goes. We've seen that time and time again with him. So, already, I think Doug Peterson is making the right call when it comes to being direct with the media and the fans. I feel as though that's the way to go about it. Now, speaking of preseason, all right? I want to talk about the Eagles and how they've been doing so well in preseason. Their defense has been doing very well preseason. Still, a lot of question marks on offense. However, we've seen, what Beckham has brought to the table, so we'll see what happens with that. We're getting bigger guys, bigger receivers. A lot of fans are upset that certain people were cut during the preseason, or possibly put on the practice squad as opposed to them actually making the team. So that's a thing as well. I'm shocked that Josh Huff is still on his team. I'm kind of shocked. But, hey, we will see what happens. Maybe, I'm not saying he will, maybe he'll prove himself this season. Maybe. I don't know. But, like I said, let's see what happens. A lot of question marks still on offense. Defense is going to carry us this year, which means offense still has to do their part. Because if the offense can't move the ball and they're getting constant 3-and-outs, the defense is going to be so damn tired after a certain point. And I'm not just saying in the game. I'm saying in the season. They're going to be so burned that they're going to start giving up big plays. And as we've seen in the preseason, defense can stop stuff. You know what I mean? They can stop some teams. So, I am worried for Carson Wentz. Of course he's going to be playing with starters, but he hasn't played at the full speed when it comes to playing other starters, on other teams. They're going to be coming at him a lot faster than what he saw, in preseason. These are things also that he has to keep in account. We know he can be a playmaker. We know he can look at defenses and audible. We know that he has some good decision-making, but he is going to make those mistakes. I'm just letting you know that now, okay? Every rookie quarterback does. So, there's no rookie quarterback. I don't care if you want to say Brady or Manning. Look at these guys when they first started, okay? No one just came out and was just a golden god. No one. Not in a rookie season like that, no. All right? Yeah, you can get some flash here and there. You see some flashes of bursts. Hell, McNabb was here. And people, bring in McNabb. And McNabb shows you some things. But in his tenure, you look at his overall career, his rookie season was like, okay. And then after that, it was, like, okay, what do you do? Then people start bagging on McNabb. Now, I've also seen a lot of people saying that we need a legit backup because Chase Daniel isn't the answer. I agree he's not. A lot of you have been saying that you want Michael Vick. And I'm thinking to myself, look. A lot of y'all screaming Vick. Y'all have to understand. If you've been watching Michael Vick since he's been gone from Philadelphia, he's not the Michael Vick that was once here. And I have to explain this because some of you don't understand how this works. It's the Plexico Burress effect. Those are what I'm talking about. When Plex went to jail, when he shot himself in the leg and went to jail, he had so much time and so much energy. He was just constantly grinding and working out. He had to prove himself that he deserved to be back in the NFL. He played with a chip on his shoulder. Okay? So that's when he came back and everyone was, oh my God, Plex is back and he was so great, right? That's the result. Same thing with Michael Vick. When he came out of jail, he had something to prove. He had to grind. He had to earn it. So he had all those years of rest, because that's what he was doing, resting, and he was just waiting for his chance. And when he got his chance, he tried to burn it up and he was going. Now that he's comfortable and he's going from team to team to team, he's back to being so comfortable. Now, I'm not saying that he's not going to try. What I'm saying is you're not going to get the same level of Michael Vick that you did then. All right? And I'm not going to bring up the age factor. I'm not. Okay? I'm just saying when it comes to athleticism in general and when it comes to certain decision making. Besides, you bring in Michael Vick, you're going to flip the playbook since he's a left-arm quarterback and everyone's going to do. Okay. All right. Whatever. Just saying. These are things that you have to take into account. So, could he be a legit backup? Could he be a factor? Yeah, he could, but also understand that defenses these days are pretty much, they've pretty much worked around that now. So, it's not as effective as it used, as it once was, okay? Just letting you know that. However, preseason did bring on some good things, and I have to say that I'm happy to see that the players are enjoying themselves during preseason, because those didn't see what was going on the sidelines. Check this out, the Eagles are doing.
I'm here with Eagles wide receiver Jordan Matthews, who has not played in the preseason, so Eagles fans are watching saying, will you be ready on September 11th?
Yeah, I'll definitely be ready. I'm continuing to work with my teammates, offensive guys and defensive guys, Fletch included. So, it's been a grind, but like I said, I got great competition every day in practice to go against. The main thing the last couple of weeks is getting healthy and then staying mentally prepared and getting mental reps. So I feel good, feeling much better now. Just going to continue to rehab, get out there and practice, and then just get ready for week one.
What do you think of what you've seen from this offense?
I see a lot, man. I've seen a lot of guys be able to put in positions to make plays.
Yo! What's on his face? He's like, soon. And he goes, damn. Look, come on, y'all. Y'all got to let this go eventually. But no, throughout the entire preseason game, they still do it again. All the other players do it as well, behind their backs.
Another showman, Dave Spina.
I'm here with Eagles defensive tackle Benny Logan, and the big question is the defense ready for next week?
Oh yeah, we're definitely ready. We got a few things we got to touch up on and game plan wise for Cleveland, but overall I think we're definitely ready. We really came out in the preseason, made a statement, so we didn't want to carry on to the season.
What's it been like for you, Benny, going from a 3-4 to a 4-3?
It's been fun. I had my ups and downs, OTAs and training camp things, but once I got a hang of what they were asking me to do, it's been a really fun transition with the guys.
It's good to see them loose and having fun, but let's be honest here. Everyone's having fun when we're winning, right? That's how it works. Now, if they were losing and doing something like this, we would all have a fit. We'd have a fucking heart attack over this. So as far as I'm concerned, it's good to see them in good spirits, in good health. We'll see what happens come week one against the Browns. Should be a fun game, but now we have to get a bit serious when it comes to Eagles football. Because for those who don't know, a number of Eagles players have now contacted the Philadelphia police. That's right. They contacted them because after what happened with Colin Kaepernick, and we talked about it last week, now Eagles players want to step up and try and make a difference in our communities.
But I think the fact of the matter is, and I think all of those things are distractions from the real point, which is that there is an issue that both sides, no matter what side of the argument you're on, both sides have their hand in the problem. And so you talk about police brutality, what you've seen across the nation, with police really overstepping their boundaries and violating the rights of citizens. That's something that's a huge issue. But then you also have the other side of that. Our law enforcement have a hard job, and they put their lives on the line all the time. And you saw some of the egregious acts in Dallas and attacks on officers, and that's something that needs to be addressed. But so to bicker and argue about, some socks or what somebody's doing to protest really just distracts from the true point of what it really is all about. Whether you disagree with somebody's opinion or not, facts are facts, and there is an issue, and the sooner we can come together and start to have that true dialect and conversation about the real issues, then change won't come.
Okay, now this is where I get a bit upset. All right? I should say it's kind of disrespectful. Because everything he's saying, I said last week. And a number of people got upset with me because I said it last week. He says it, all of a sudden, oh, everything's good. He's absolutely right. Hands across America, blah, blah, blah. You've got to be fucking kidding me, right? And this is what bothers me. Because as you know, if you've been watching my videos for a very long time, you know I've been trying to, since the Nutter administration, been trying to get in contact and trying to get meetings with the Philadelphia police and doing the same thing that they're doing. I've been trying to do this for years, right? And they keep denying me. So what do I do when it comes to a meeting? So what do? I go out and do my own thing. You know what I mean? And try to help in ways by renovating and stuff like that. I've been doing this, okay? The Eagles, because they're such a powerful franchise and organization, they can get the Philadelphia police like that. Yep. Say the same thing that I'm saying, right? And this is a good example of what I spoke about not too long ago in the Charles Barkley video. How I said, you're going to come in here, you're going to do all these, these episodes, and you have these, celebrity players or whatever, and the little people, because let's be honest here, that's what I am compared to them. I'm the little person, no matter how much credit you can get on the street, I am still, compared to an organization, the little person, will get overshadowed when it comes to things like this. And I feel that's absolutely wrong. Not in my case, but in other people's cases as well, because when I spoke about it in the Charles Barkley video, I was talking about other people, not myself. You know what I mean? So, now that this has happened, and we're seeing people, all of a sudden, they've had this epiphany. Bolt of lightning struck them, and it's absolutely right, and it's bigger than just kneeling and not staying up for the anthem. I said that before, and that didn't matter, right? So here's my question to you. All of those who still try to make it that issue about standing up for, not standing for the anthem. Because for those who don't know, San Francisco Police Union, they're refusing to give police protection to Colin Kaepernick and a lot of other people now because of the kneeling. See? And this is the wrong way about it. So every person who wants to say that they're an American, every person who wants to think that they're a badass or a hard ass or whatever, here's the question I have for you. What are you doing for your community in this situation, other than getting on Twitter and bitching about it? I'm just wondering. Because you could easily take this situation and actually do something with it. And what I mean by that is, this should be a good message to say, hey, we do need to come together, we need to bridge a gap, and maybe we need to talk about this some more within the smaller communities. Instead of just getting on Twitter and posting a picture of American flag and saying, America! Yeah, what are you doing for America? What are you doing to help other people? Other than to just try and, how can I put this, sell yourself to others that you're American, that you're a diehard, red-blooded American, hamburgers, hot dogs, beer, America. Just wondering. Like I said, so when people got mad at me last week, I'm okay with that. Because it tells me how far behind you are. It's that simple. And you know what? It always takes a bigger man to admit when they're wrong. But of course, none of you who've acted that way have admitted you're wrong. It's one thing to have an emotional reaction to something, but then you have to sit back and you have to look at it and say, okay, this clearly is a problem. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about the history of other athletes doing this as well. No. So, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of you have a lot of growing up to do. That's how I feel. Now, you can get mad at me for that as well. Fine, get mad at me. I don't give a shit. I really don't. But from one person who actually does, step out and stick their neck out to try and help others, to other people who just sit on Twitter and complain, yeah, I don't think you really have any room to say anything. You really don't. So now the Eagles organization pretty much said the same thing I'm saying, and I give them credit for it. Like I said, a little upset at the fact that the little guys always get shut out of this, and that, the Eagles organization is doing. Like I said, for these guys, they sat down. As you see, they all have clipboards or pamphlets. You know what I mean? Standard pamphlets. I'm thinking to myself, they're kind of unprepared because like I said, when you go into something like this, like I said, I've been dealing with this as another organization, so I'd have came in with a stack of stuff like this, you know what I mean? And when I mean a stack of stuff like this, I don't mean just talking points, but the fact that, not just to complain about things, but to also give solutions. That's what it is. Because you just can't go and just say, okay, what do we do about this? No, you can't start there, because you already know the problem. What do we do about this? That's why you're there. You're past that stage already. You should, by the time you get into a meeting, you should already have a number of solutions and see if you can sell them on it. Just saying. We'll see what happens in the future. I'll keep you updated on if the Philadelphia Eagles actually get anything accomplished with the Philadelphia Police Department and see where it goes from there. And maybe it'll start to affect our other neighborhoods. We'll see. All right? I'll keep you updated. But, of course, you're always one of those people who are very upset at the fact that I said that. And the fact that I'm covering it today as well. They're going to be upset about it. Because the fact is, it's time to grow up. And you don't like to grow up, do you? You don't. No. You'd rather sit online and fucking argue with each other over football or start fights or whatever than actually say, hey, there's some problems, that's going on here. Maybe we can be of some help. Because everybody wants to be looked at as the man, the big celebrity. Okay, well then use your influence. But you can't do that, can you? No, I didn't think you could. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. Like I've said before, football overseas was not around this week. You know what I mean? As we know, this week come up, we've got Manchester Derby coming up. We got Manchester City versus Manchester United. I will be watching that. But still, regardless if you like soccer or football, whatever you want to call it, guess what? You're still getting the flop of the week. That's right, because you've got to be kidding me that this is okay. Mind you, it's a foul, but come on, man. This is way too far. You know what? You should be fine as well.
To make time for your feelings, but you have to admit I already do.
You've got, oh my God, yeah, I'm just disgusted. It's embarrassing. It is. It's embarrassing to see a professional athlete act that way. It just is. It is. However, I want to move on, and I want to talk about professional athletes, and I want to talk about, since we're talking about professionals, I do want to talk about professional wrestling real quick. And the reason I want to talk about this, because I really don't talk about wrestling much here, but for what happened on ESPN, or should I say, that was involved with ESPN's NBA Insider, it's absolutely disgusting. Now, I need to talk about this, because for those who remember a couple videos ago, when we were talking about Steph Curry and him getting the unanimous MVP, mind you, I showed you the clip where ESPN's NBA Insider decided to bag on the NBA fan base. Remember that? Remember I showed you that clip? Okay, well, let's fast forward to now. And let's talk about pro wrestling. For those who don't know, last week, Kevin Owens won the Universal WWE Championship. I don't care. You know what I mean? If he won, fine. That's not what I'm trying to get to the point here, okay? The fact that afterwards, this NBA Insider for ESPN came out and made a joke about Kevin Owens attacking his autistic son. That's right. So, when this happened, a lot of pro wrestlers were very upset. And when this happened as well, because mind you, ESPN has their own segment these days on pro wrestling. So, when the fan base got upset, the pro wrestlers got upset, this guy decided to, apologize for the issue. Of course, it felt like a half-assed, force-fed, apology. So, more wrestlers got upset, and they responded to him calling him a coward. And as you can see in the comments, because first off, I don't have any problem with that wrestler come out and calling him a coward, because he is a fucking coward. You shouldn't be attacking little kids like that, autistic kids. They've done nothing to you, okay? But that's not the point. The point is the other comments where they said, where he didn't delete the tweet. Now, I put it like this. He's apologized and didn't delete the tweet. That's a gray area, all right? Because if he deletes the tweet, then people are going to say he was ashamed of it, and people will say, well, the internet will never forget, and you know what I mean, and they'll still retweet it, screenshot it and everything, and it's archived, and he's not going to escape that. If he keeps the tweet, people are going to say he should be ashamed of himself because he's apologizing for the issue, but he didn't remove the tweet, so he's still getting retweets and likes and stuff like that. Okay, so he's gaining attention off of it. So when this is happening, he apologizes. We find out that he's been suspended from ESPN. That's right. Now, we've talked about the level of this guy's professionalism before. And clearly, he doesn't have a level of professionalism. He has a tendency to open his mouth a bit too much, which will get him in trouble. And now that you're pissing off professional wrestlers, that's the last people you want to piss off, all right? professional wrestler will ball you up, all right? And for, to go after a professional wrestler's family for no reason, and then they said, yeah, other professional wrestlers are going to call you a coward. They are. And all you can do is apologize, because you would not say anything like that to them face to face. Just saying. Once again, ESPN, the people you hire, seriously, it's not just disrespectful. You're disrespecting yourselves. I mean, let's be honest. This is the same ESPN we found out that hired somebody who really didn't exist. Yeah. So, yeah, just ESPN, calm it down. Seriously. This is what happens when you try to make journalists or writers or just random guys, Joes, your insider, yeah, you try to make them celebrities. They're on TV. They think they're bigger than what they really are. And then, like I said, you have one job. You have the easiest job in the world. Have an opinion about said sport or said thing. And you can't keep it under control to the fact that you get suspended. Like, easiest job in the world. You're not doing construction. You're not shoveling shit for $5 an hour or something. You're like, come on. You have the easiest job in the world. You sit on your ass and you talk sports. Easiest job in the world. And you can't contain yourself to a point that you're going to get suspended? Like, come on. What's wrong with you? Quality control. That's what this should be. Seriously. Code of conduct. They have a thing in real work when it comes to that. I can only imagine if people like Skip Bayless came out of nowhere and was like, yeah, I'm quitting, I'm going to quit talking about sports and get a real job like construction. It would be hilarious. It would. A lot of these guys are comfortable. And they insist upon themselves. They do. A lot of them do. Like I said, when you meet these guys and you see the way they work in the studio, a lot of them don't even work by themselves. A lot of them got teams. Like Skip Bayless has a team. All right? He's got a team of people who gets the info for him and gathers it up for him. That's what they do. He doesn't do this stuff on his own. If you really think that, then there's something wrong with you. Like I said, you should see the way the studio stuff works. It really is. It's mind-blowing. But I want to move on. I want to talk about, since we're talking about more physical, sports. I don't know if you want to call pro wrestling a sport. I always said it's a scripted, glorified stunt show, because that's what it is. It's a stunt show. That's what it is. But speaking of other sports, let's talk about Premier Boxing Champions. For those who don't know, Premier Boxing Champions has been on quite a roll these number of months. And they've put on some great fights. Last week, a number of knockouts. Number of them. Can't even be mad. However, I would like to say, these upcoming schedule, that's coming up for Premier Boxing Champions, is looking to keep continuing to have the same old thing. And we talked about this before, and I want to highlight, first I want to show you the schedule, because we want to highlight the top one first. Jacobs versus Mora. Now, mind you, remember, we talked about this in the past videos. Remember, when this fight first happened, it was such a quick fight. Remember, Sergio Mora broke his leg in the ring. It actually fractured his ankle or something in the ring. Remember, we talked about this. Jacobs came at Mora, knocked Mora down. And then when he tried to rush Mora because, he had the knockdown, he thought he could put him away, Mora knocked him down. Remember, the fight only lasted, 1 or 2 rounds or something like that? And then, mind you, when they were getting ready to exchange again, Mora broke his leg in the process, and he fell. Remember, I showed you they had to get I showed you the video where they had to cart out the stretcher, and he was saying how he wanted a rematch. And Jacobs was like, he doesn't deserve a rematch. I was going to beat him anyway. Well, now they're getting the rematch, and I feel as though the only reason this rematch is happening is because Jacobs versus Triple G didn't happen. So yeah, Mora versus Jacobs is going to happen this Friday coming up. I cannot wait for this fight. This is a must-see for me. I need to see how this is going to end because remember. All right, Jacobs was really cocky. This is before he fought Peter Quillen, remember? So just really cocky on how he could beat Sergio Mora, and he didn't prove anything at that time. So we're going to see what happens this time around, when Sergio Mora is actually, healthy, and how this will go. Maybe Jacobs will try and finish him quick, like he did with Peter Quillen. He'll get that one shot and then throw a barrage at him against the ropes and hope that the ref calls the fight. That's what it is. Okay, we'll see. That's what he did with Peter Quillen. But don't get me wrong. What he did with Peter Quillen needed to be done. Quillen, even though he was somewhat on Dream City, we had this discussion, all right? Peter Quillen, you still have to give the fighter a chance to redeem themselves and try to fight. He wasn't completely out of it. You know what I mean? But hey, that's what happens. So, as far as I'm concerned, we will see what happens when it comes to Sergio Mora. I really can't wait for this. I can't. It's going to be so fun to watch on Friday. I'm not going to miss that for anything. So, I want to talk about other things that I really don't want to miss. Over the weekend, as we know coming up, we have UFC coming up. Now, anyone who has watched FS1, and you know what, let me say this now, FS1 is an absolute fucking joke, all right, when it comes to their programming. Because the evolution of Punk, that's right, we have to talk about CM Punk. That's right, as we know, he's going to be fighting in the UFC this weekend. He's going to be fighting Mickey Gall. Now, for things, anyone who's watched this small series, all right, because FS1, if you missed an episode, they didn't have it on demand, so you were screwed. You had to wait until another replay came on. Just to let you know that, okay? Like I said, FS1, they'll have a bunch of NASCAR and stuff and dirt bike on with dirt bike racing on demand, but not the stuff that people really want to watch. That's why I said it's a joke. Anyways, watching his training session, you know what I mean? Watching his jiu-jitsu. He has a lot to learn with jiu-jitsu. A lot. But I feel as though because he has a professional wrestling or somewhat of a scrambling background, he could excel at either catch wrestling, I said this before, catch wrestling or jiu-jitsu. So if UFC doesn't work out for him, he can go into those tournaments, which have hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he could win tournaments, you know what I mean, if he dedicates himself. All right? Now, here's a couple things I have a problem with when it comes to this series. His striking, all right, absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. And now, I say this not from a kicking standpoint when it comes to striking and kicking, but his hands. First off, he holds his hands too low. He keeps his chin up. He doesn't have it down. CM Punk is one of those guys who is walking before learning how to crawl. And I feel as though he needs to be put in a ring with an actual boxer first to get form. Because for those who don't know, boxing, this is how it usually starts. Boxing, the original martial art. Then it evolves from there. Okay? So if you can learn the basics of boxing and then move on to Muay Thai or whatever you want to do when it comes to striking, you have a better chance because of your stance. If you notice, kickboxers, when they try to move into regular boxing, get destroyed. Want to know why? Because their hands, especially Muay Thai, because their hands are so high up. They hold them up here because they're looking to, to shift their hips when they throw a kick. But you have to understand, putting your hands up this high, this right here, it's an invitation to get punched. It is. Boxing will teach you to keep it in. Keep it inside. No matter what comes at you, whether you storm, your gloves are here, your hands are here, they're going to absorb those punches. Punches come to the side, you just do like this, you lean to the side. You're not breaking that stance, really. So, when you see guys put their hands up here, too high, because they can't get a focus on striking. You have to strike downward then. You have to keep it here. All right? Now, also, why I say this is because CM Punk, he fights here. He fights like this. And he fights forward. He leans forward. Which means, if anyone watches when he's hitting heavy bag, when he's leaning forward, bad form. Why? Because he doesn't have 50-50. For those who don't know what I'm talking about. 50-50 distribution of weight when you are trying to throw a punch, lean into power, or throw a kick. These type of things happen because when you're doing mitts and you're catching mitts, and I tell you to throw your second punch, your power punch, and I pull that away and try to dupe you, if you miss that punch and you're not 50-50 and you lean too far in, you're wide open for a counter. That's the reason why we take gloves away from you at times when it comes to the mitts. You throw it, you throw a two, you throw a hard punch, I'm going to take it away to see if you miss that, you can pull back in time so you won't have to worry about being punished for it. You know what I mean? 50-50 distribution. Sometimes, depending on the fight, you can lean 60-40 distribution. But when CM Punk is stepping into this octagon, and you've seen it in the training session if you've been watching the series, or if he's in front of a heavy bag, he is too far leaned over with his hands down and his chin up. He's asking to get knocked out. He's asking for it. CM Punk has a lot of glaring holes in his defense as well. There's times if you watch the sparring sessions, guys are hitting him in the stomach, tagging him. He's not even trying to block it. He's not trying to. I'm telling you this. If a guy throws a punch and hits you in the stomach, and you just walk through it, and you keep coming, guess what? That's a good indication that if another guy tries to put a combo together, that's not going to be a punch that goes to your stomach. That's going to be a kick. And that's going to hurt like hell and take, especially if you get hit in the solar plexus, it's going to take all your air away from you. And that's why when you see guys get kicked in the stomach, they fall, they just collapse down to the ground, curl up in a ball. That's why. You have to be able to have good defense. I don't see CM Punk during these sessions. He's not checking kicks. That's going to be a problem for him. He goes off of, I don't even want to say rhythm because he's kind of awkward. It doesn't flow when he rhythm. So it's one of those things where if he gets emotional or he gets a little angry, then he tries to come at you full bore. He just comes at you. He comes at you too squared up first off, too squared up, and 9 times out of 10, if we've seen the way he's fighting, he tries to throw 1 or 2 punches and then go for the takedown, which becomes predictable, especially if you're getting picked apart during striking. Anybody who knows anything about fighting, when you're hitting a guy, you're striking, you're hitting him, and you're beating him, you've seen it with Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey. What happened? She was picking her apart with striking, and everyone said, what? Should have tried to take it to the ground. By the time she tried to take it to the ground, it became predictable because it's the only card she had left in her pocket. It's the only one she could play. That's what it comes down to. CM Punk, I don't want to bag on him and say he's horrible because this is what training is for, to get better. It is. CM Punk, this is way too early for you. I think Mickey Gall is going to, I think he's going to run over you. I think this kid, he's a blue chipper. This kid has what it takes. I don't think that CM Punk, and I understand he's got pride and he's humble for what we've seen. I just don't see yet where I can say, hey, this guy's going to walk into a UFC arena and he's going to win. Unless, and some of you already said to me on Twitter that Mickey Gall's going to take a dive, that he's going to get paid to make him look good. I don't believe that. I really don't. I just think that CM Punk has a lot to learn. And you have to understand that CM Punk has been out for 12 months. He's been training for what? 2 years or something like that? 2 years, 7 months? He's been in WWE. So, but he was out for 12 of those months because he had to have surgery and there were setbacks. So he doesn't have that much experience when it comes to jiu-jitsu as opposed to Gall. I believe Mickey Gall's what? A brown belt as opposed to CM Punk's just getting stripes on his white belt. So, yeah, huge problem there. Now, mind you, of course, brown belts can be tapped by white belts as well. You go into any jiu-jitsu place, you can be a blue belt or a purple belt. You have, depending on the level of athleticism that your white belt has, you could tap out those guys as well. It depends, okay? But when you have a guy like Mickey Gall who does this, who eats this, who lives this, who breathes this, and CM Punk is just saying, I'm just getting started. This is these guys' world. He has a lot to learn. He does. Like I said, I don't want to bag on him, don't want to trash him. It's just I see, from a training standpoint, when I see what he has, there's just a lot of holes. A lot of holes. I would love to see him put him in a ring with a boxer first so that he can work on his defense and how to hold his hands. Because that's the number one thing, how to hold your hands. If you notice, when you see wrestlers, when they go, they transfer very easily in the UFC because they have that wrestling background. But if you notice, hands are down, head is up. They're always looking to shoot. They're always. You know what I mean? They can get by on wrestling and then learn striking later. But if you have an advanced striker out there, they can pick that shit apart quick. And that wrestling won't even become a factor. You know what I mean? CM Punk needs to learn the basics. He doesn't have the basics yet when it comes to learning how to strike properly and defending himself. It's one thing to throw a kick or to throw a punch, but to be able to throw it at a good velocity and come back in time for defense because your opponent's looking to counter. You know what I mean? In order to have that, to come back, he's got to learn. And right now, I have not seen it. In these training sessions, he is getting lit up. He is. And it's one thing, okay, you can look at him and say, okay, well, he's learning this, he's learning that. You know what I mean? Their training sessions, they're light sparring. He's got a fight coming up. He's not going to be, you know what I mean? He's not going to be heavily into it. But you also have to understand, especially from a boxing background, a lot of guys will tell you, fighting background in general, a lot of guys will tell you, if you're not walking into the octagon or into the ring with already a shiner, you have not sparred enough. You haven't. You know what I mean? Headgear or no headgear, you haven't sparred enough. You know what I mean? CM Punk, while he could have potential, he can have that passion, he's got a lot to learn with footwork. He's got a lot to learn with defense. He's got a lot to learn with stance. And he has to learn how to have... You can't... Look, everyone's defense can be broken. But he has to have to a point where if you're going to fight a high-level guy like a Mickey Gall, who has experience already in fighting, this is not his first rodeo, okay? When it comes to the UFC, let alone on a lower circuit. He's got experience. CM Punk does not have that experience yet. He doesn't. No matter how many pros you throw in there with him, he doesn't have that experience yet. I think CM Punk is going to be beaten. And I don't want to say it's going to be embarrassing, but I think a lot of MMA fans are going to go at CM Punk once he loses. And it's one thing you shouldn't do. Because like I said, this is a learning experience. You have to keep training. Win, lose, draw, whatever. Keep training, keep grinding. That's what it is. You have to live it. You have to breathe it. You can't be one of these guys who are on the internet and just think just because they work out and all of a sudden they're tough or they've got a little bit of angst and all of a sudden, they're tired of people's shit that they want to fight. That's not how it works. CM Punk has to learn that, look, keep calm, keep composed. This is business. If you lose your head, that's when you start to lose the fight. That's what it is. He's got to go out there and he's got to enjoy himself. He's got to enjoy getting hit. He's going to have to smile every once in a while and say, hey, all right, good shot. Let's keep it going. It has to be a competition. If you look at it from an emotional standpoint and think it's an actual fight as opposed to a competition, that's when you lose. It is. This is scheduled to go rounds and rounds. And Mickey Gall, even though he finishes guys very shortly, okay, you have to be built for the long haul. That's what it's for. So, UFC, I'll be looking forward to that as well. And, of course, Eagles versus Browns, I'll be looking forward to it as well. Like I said, Eagles fans, please, by all means, try and have fun. Sit on your couch, have a drink. Yeah, yell at your TV. Get on Twitter, jaw with some Browns fans. Have some fun. Don't take this too seriously. Seriously. Don't take this too seriously. Yeah, I hope y'all caught on that. But you have to understand that this is how our season is going to be. Get behind your team. Yeah, get behind them. You should, Should be hyped for the first week of the season because first week of football. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, don't overreact. Please don't. Because then you just become another crime bitch. Don't do that. Don't. Please. It's Eagles football. We're used to this in Philly. Okay? If they lose, okay. If they win, it's even better, right? Okay. I don't want to see anyone burning jerseys and carrying on, all right? In the first week, it's fucking ridiculous, you know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm done for the week. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. Next week, we'll talk some more. I'm out.